Okay, so today's parcel topic. This one's probably one of the kinkier things you do in civil because they don't truly work real fluently sometimes right off the bat. You have to play with them a little bit, and I still have to get my feet on the ground with them because I don't use them totally. But they're real cool when you're doing lot development. Say like for a subdivision or a big industrial complex or something where you're busting it up into parcels. So we basically had that on that first drawing that we did in civil where we had parcels essentially. We could have done that with parcels. I wanted you to get fluent with line work first because a parcel object in Civil 3D is, like I said, it's a little bit trickier kind of guy, but you can think of it as a more or less like a closed polyline. That's essentially what it is. But it has intelligence because it knows what its area is, its perimeter, and then it labels itself or can label very effectively. And they know how do they connect to each other, so it also has the connectivity between adjacent parcels. And then they belong to something called a site. So let me go over here to my Blackboard site. You guys should have hopefully had a look at this. So what we want to take a look at are parcels today. Creating parcels, we're going to look at the parcel layout tools, editing parcels, dealing with a little bit of parcel styles, parcel labels, and then we're going to add labels and add parcel tables. And then there's this thing called the toolbox, which I haven't really talked to you about yet, but there's some kind of neat things in there. So hopefully we'll get a chance to deal with that as well. Also, I have, and I hope that you guys have had a chance to open this up, or you might want to open this up. I have a schematic here. Should look familiar. We're gonna take this guy and draw it real quick with line work. So I'm not going to worry about where I'm starting, but we're just going to run bearing and distance around this thing. And then we're going to bring this guy in here. I'll help you with the parameters of this, but what we're going to do is create this into a parcel. And then we're going to create a parcel here, and then we're going to start to use the parcel tools to develop this into a final drawing. So if you look also, and you might want to print this out as well, there's this final picture. We may or may not do the whole thing, but if you notice as you get into this, there's some neat things here. All of this was pretty well labeled for me by using parcels. Now it's not totally that easy. There are some tricks to it, just like anything else in civil. But these guys are held in a database. So notice I can click on this parcel one, and it can give me a legal description basically of that parcel. You know, the bearings and distance around it, the area, the perimeter. So each one of those is kind of linked. Okay, so that's where we're headed. And like I said, we may not do this whole thing, but you can take a look at it in your book. Also, there's a section on parcels. Interestingly, he has it, the authors have it embedded into an area called corridors. So it's a different section. They don't have just one chapter dedicated to parcels, but you'll find it in chapter 8. And then there's one tutorial that they go through. So if you have a chance to look through that, you might want to look at it. Okay. So we're going to start with a schematic. Okay. I'm going to start this line. Don't worry about where you started. What I want to do is just get this perimeter going. So we're just going to use a line by bearing and distance kind of thing. And I'll follow along with you. In fact, we're not even going to worry about layers right now too, because one of the things parcels will do is they will put things on their own layer. So I'm going to go ahead and let me close this guy up. I got too many of these tabs open. Yeah, looks like I got too many of those. All right, so I'm going to go back to Civil 3D, and hopefully if you don't have this printed, then just refer back to it. So let's take a few minutes. We're going to start out here with this line by bearing kind of concept. And again, I'm on the 0 layer, so you might want to just put yours on the 0 layer just so you know where you're managing it. So I'm just going to click this guy anywhere, okay? Give it my bearing. Just go ahead and enter your information. 3.0026. If you make a mistake or two, it's not going to be detrimental. Just make sure that we get it close. Okay, once you get rolling with that, hopefully we'll be able to knock this thing out pretty easily. It's good to do this stuff because the more we get into it, the easier it's going to become for you. If you want to, if you're still working, if you're drawing that last line, just go ahead and draw it at the bearing that I show you. And then what we'll do is we'll zoom up and make sure that it's hitting. It probably won't be exact. Notice my bearing also says southeast on that final closing when you'd actually be northwest. That last distance is incorrect too. Seems like. So that distance is only halfway. So what you can do is to fix that, I'm going to go in and do a fillet of 0 radius, and then just fillet these guys together. How's everybody doing? Anybody done yet? Everybody still working?
I'm done.
Okay, you're done. Anybody else still working? Okay, make sure that you close this. That line, that distance there was only to halfway point. So that should just go ahead and if you just fillet that 0 radius, that should connect those two guys up. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and construct the center line again like we did last time. So I'm going to do a midpoint snap. So I'm going to do this create perpendicular from a point. And I'm going to select this object. And then I'm going to do a midpoint snap. And then we're going to go out 350 feet per plat. I'm going to do an arc from the end of a line from the end of an object. Radius is 200. And we're going to use delta, which is 30. Another line from end of an object. Distance is 104.29. Okay. And I'm going to do another line from the midpoint of this guy. I'll tell you what, I'll just use an arc. From end of object, radius. We may have to reverse the radius on this. Let's see, try a radius. Oh, that angle's not going to work. We're going to have to be careful. Okay, I'll wait till everybody. How's everybody doing? You guys up to this point yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this slightly different. We won't do an arc off of this because that angle's not going to work right. So what we're going to do is just going to do another perpendicular from midpoint. So I'm going to snap a line here. And we're going to do midpoint perpendicular. And just don't worry about how long it is, just draw it out. What we're going to do is we're going to fillet these two guys together with a 200-foot radius. Okay, so I'm going to go into the fillet command, radius, 200 feet. And I'm going to do a lengthen on this guy just to get this exact. So that's an exact 100-foot distance. So I'm going to go into lengthen, LEN. We're going to do total. And that's going to be 100 feet. And then make sure you pick the right end of it. I'm going to pick this end here. So it should do that. All right, so there's my center line alignment. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. Is everybody okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to draw a ball at the end of this. So we're going to go and just draw a circle. Snap to the end of the point there for the center. And we're going to make that 40 feet. Hopefully you're getting used to these guys so far. They're coming in at same kind of parameters on a lot of this stuff. So this is we'll assume this is a 50-foot radius. So what we're going to do is just do some offsets at 50 feet, actually 25. So do an offset 25 here and here, here and here, here and here, here and here, and ultimately that one and that one. So I've got to bring a line back 75 feet. There's a couple of ways to do that. One way would be to draw a circle who has a radius of 75 feet, and where that crosses, I can get that. Or I can just take and draw a line. Probably the easiest is, say, from that endpoint to that endpoint. And then I'm just going to offset that back 75 feet. By the way, when you get into like cul-de-sacs, things like that, each jurisdiction where you work will have its own rules. Some of them use, this is called a teardrop. Some of them just use a ball with other fillets. So they're all different. Each jurisdiction, each county and township, they all have different settings. So we're going to now draw a line from the endpoint of this to the tangent of this guy. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Line, endpoint, to tangent. And we'll just do a couple of trims. So I'm going to erase that. I'm going to trim that and that, that and that, and then I can erase the rest of the junk I don't need. Okay, so there should be our street. Now the only thing we need to do is do some fillets down here, and I'm going to show you one little trick about that. If you do a fillet, normally it trims. We're going to turn the trim off on fillet so that when it fillets, we're going to have just an arc in there, and then we're going to have to do a little bit of a trim ourselves, okay? So I'm going to go into fillet, set my trim value to what's called no trim. Then I go to radius. We're going to set the radius 20. I think it's 20. Pick this guy and this guy. Notice it doesn't trim. Do it again. Pick it. And then what I'm going to have to do is just do one little simple trim. So I'm going to pick that one and trim them off. Okay, so I'm going to wait a minute, make sure everybody's at the same page here, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Are we all here with this? Everybody? Shelly, you good?
I'm good.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
McAllister, you good at?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Sorry,
Okay.
I couldn't find my mute button.
Okay, no problem. All right. Well, okay, so here's the important thing now, okay? We kind of got the stage set for doing parcels, and you have to make sure that all of this stuff works. You can't have holes anywhere. So you have to kind of think, like, I got a closed polygon here. So, you know, I have an external closed polygon here, and then this is going to be another, like, kind of internal closed polygon. Okay, so that's the important process. And that's kind of why I was doing it the way I was doing it. So if parcels fail when you try to execute them, that's a lot of your problems, particularly. Okay, so let's talk about a site first. A site is basically a place that will collect things in it. So it's just like any other site. So on a site, like if you thought like you had a site, you might have a building on that site, you might have a parking lot on that site, you might have, you know, sewers on that site. Civil kind of works the same way in their process. And notice here on the prospector, we have things called sites, but since there's no plus here, there's nothing showing up yet. We don't have any sites yet. But actually, once we start to create parcels, parcels are going to get dumped in sites. So once we create the first parcel, we'll see that become active. And you can put other things in that site. You can put surfaces associated with that site. You can have alignments associated with it. You can have other things. So this is kind of one of the first times we'll see this collection of that happening. So we're going to have to create a site, and it's going to kind of automatically do that once we generate our first parcel, okay? So under the Home tab, under the Create Design panel, here's your parcel area. And you'll notice There's really only 3 tools here they show you. Parcel creation tools, which is going to give you a toolbar, which we will be utilizing later on here in a minute. And then you have create parcels from objects, which actually, when you're just starting out, this is one of the easiest ways to do it. But this requires you to make sure that everything is this closed concept, okay? And you can do it with a combination of different types of objects, lines, arcs, circles, polylines. So there are a lot of different things you can use. Then there's this what we call create right-of-way parcel. So we could have done this with that, but we would have had to turn this center line into an alignment. We haven't talked about alignments yet. And it doesn't work to do things like this. It will not create it won't create a cul-de-sac for you. So it is somewhat limited. So probably in 2 weeks, I'm going to show you how to do that create right-of-way parcel. So we're not going to do that today. But we are going to create a right-of-way. We're just going to generate it a little bit differently. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, a lot of times when we build parcels, we kind of go from the outside in. Well, I'm going to do a little bit different logic. I'm going to create this guy first, and then we're going to create that parcel first, the right-of-way parcel, and then we're going to do the exterior boundary, okay? So we're going to do this by parcel, create parcel from objects. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I'm selecting each object. Now I can do this with windows and all kinds of things, but I'm just selectively getting each one of those. I want to make sure I get this and not the center line, because the center line might give you some issues. And if you do select the center line, just deselect it if that seems to be an issue. Okay, so I'm just making sure I get all of these right here. And the other thing I'm going to include is this line right here, because that's my closing line, okay? So make sure you've got it highlighted just like that. When you're done, go ahead and hit enter. So this is where it's going to set up the site and then all of the information and parameters that go along with this thing. So notice right now it's under site 1. There aren't any other sites at this point, so it's just going to generate a new site 1. Different styles associated with parcels. Basically, it has to do with the layers and the colors that it's going to come in on. Right now, this is called a property parcel. What I'm going to do is make this a roadway parcel. Kind of makes sense. So it'll put it, notice it'll put it on its own parcel layer, and then it'll have a line segment layer. Now those can be changed. That's again, those are stylistic issues that you can drive. Then we have a label style. Right now it's set to parcel name. What we want to do is kind of look at the square foot and the acre. So what we're going to do is set this to square foot and acre, because that's probably more important for us right now. As far as labeling styles, those are labels. We're going to work with this later, but notice if you toggled that on, it would label that automatically for you, but we don't want that to happen. So we're going to do this after the fact. And also, I very often don't want double objects sitting around. So what I'm going to do is erase that existing entity. So I should just be able to hit OK here. And you should now see this is now a parcel. And notice it tells me we have 0.94 acres in this guy. Is everybody seeing that to work?
I missed a line. I'm going to redo it real quick.
Okay, we'll wait. Yeah, and that's a problem. But now you can always add that stuff. They're flexible. You can add stuff to them. But sometimes holes create a problem. Okay. Anybody else problems executing it? This label, by the way, usually goes in the centroid, but it can be moved around. So notice I can move this guy, and it's attached to a certain point. So if you don't like that sitting there, you can bring it out. But as we create each lot, it's kind of neat. It'll generate itself right in the centroid of the lot. So that's a nice placement, particularly when you're dealing with lot numbering and that stuff. It sure is convenient. Let me know when you're done, Shelley. Anybody else problems executing this? While we're waiting for everybody, if you look over here now under sites, you now see that sites exist. Under site 1, I now have a parcel. And under that parcel, there's my parcel road. And I can right click on that and do certain things. I can look at its properties. I can zoom to it. So if I want to see that parcel, I can zoom to it. I can look at its properties. And what's really cool under this properties section, you have an information, you have a composition. Analysis is really pretty neat. I can do an inverse around this and notice it's giving me information, bearing and distance for the whole thing. I can just scroll down and look at that and I can see all of that. That information, by the way, could be pasted out into like the clipboard, and you can use that to help you write a legal description if you're looking for that kind of stuff. It also, if you do a map check analysis, it'll do what's called a closure for you, and it'll show you actually the precision on that, which basically you would think, well, shouldn't it be one in a, you know, it should be perfect, but there's always going to be some precision because there's the way AutoCAD draws, and also it's 14 sig figs. But notice we're talking about a 1 in 176,000 closure, so that's pretty good. Any questions?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Okay, so now we're going to create a parcel out of our big piece. So I'm going to go to parcels and I'm going to do another create from objects. So I'm just going to start around here and we're just going to build the exterior site. Now you could, like I said, typically you can do this first, but then I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Wants to know what site it's part of. So it'll be part of site 1. We do want them linked together. Otherwise, if you have different parcels in the same lot that are on different sites, they won't recognize each other. So we want to make sure that they recognize each other. So they're all going to fall under the same site. But we're not going to use the road style. We're going to use what's called the property style. And I'm going to erase existing entities and I'm going to hit OK. And we should have now a new one here, which is like 8.54. So this parcel, if you click on this, notice it recognizes the fact that the roadway is coming through it. So it's kind of neat. Now also, if we deleted this parcel some way or dissolved it, that's also called a dissolve, this would go back to its total acres, which is like 9 something. Okay, is that working for everybody?
Yep.
And so notice automatically this is calling them parcel 1 and parcel 2. Go over to your parcel tree over here and you'll notice, yeah, sometimes that works really weird. It should be showing up there. I should have parcels showing up here. For some reason mine's not doing it, and it'll do that sometimes. But we'll see it start to show up. Okay, any questions then so far? All right, so I'm going to start to break this guy up, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring a line from the midpoint of this to the midpoint of that. Now, I can start to use parcel creation tools to do this. So instead of creating a line first and then for generating things after the fact, I'm going to do this right off the bat. So I'm going to use parcels, and I'm going to do this parcel creation tools. And this has got a really cool dialog box. We're going to take a look at parameters here later. So I'm going to just close that parameters section. But notice there's different ways we can do this. We can do it by simple lines. You've got a couple of different curve settings you can set up. You have draw tangent, no curves. And then these are really cool tools here. You can slide line create or swing line create, which we're going to take a look at. And then each one of these guys is considered an entity within the parcel. So you can break them apart using these tools. So that would be delete a subentity. So this line is considered a subentity of the total parcel. And I can analyze things, I can change things. So there's a lot once you start to get into this. We're going to take it pretty simple. We're just going to go to this guy right here. Fixed line, 2 points. And it's going to say, okay, as you're creating a parcel now, what site do you want to be under? Well, again, we want to be under the same site. Only this time we're going to call this guy a single family, and everything we do from now on is going to be single family kind of breakup. And I'm going to just have the parcel name on this. If you want to see, well, let's go ahead. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead. We'll make that, we're going to look at the name and the square feet because we want to kind of see what's happening as we do that. And I'm not going to automatically segment this. I'm just going to hit OK now. And I'm going to do a shift, hit a midpoint here to a midpoint here, and then hit enter. And I should now have another parcel created. Okay. So notice what it did is it took the exterior parcel, the property parcel, and that still thinks it's a property parcel, which we'll change the properties on that here in a minute. And so now I have this parcel right there. That's one parcel. And we have another parcel here. And we have that other parcel. Now they should start showing up here sometimes. Sometimes for some reason, we should start seeing parcels showing up here, and I'm not sure why that is. But eventually, I'll tell you what you might want to do. At this point, just go ahead and do a save real quick because you don't want this thing to crash. So everybody, we're going to go ahead and do a save. Save it wherever you want to. I'm just going to save it out there on my desktop. I'm going to call this my parcel drawing. So if it does crash, you can re-grab it, okay? Put it right on my desktop. So it's just going to be called a parcel.dwg. Save it. Okay. All right. Any questions? Are you guys getting parcels to show up over here? Each parcel should start to show up. I'm not sure why it's not, but oh, there they go. If you close that site one and then open it back up, now you'll see them. Any questions?
Nope.
All right. So we're going to start to break this guy up now. What I think I've mentioned before, a lot of times designers work through the cul-de-sac. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring a radial line. I want a radial line that's going to go from the center of the ball, and I want it to be 50 feet from this point. So I'm going to place myself a little marker out there, just using a circle. That's why I find this is one of the easiest ways to go a distance. So I'm going to do a circle, and I'm going to snap it to the end point here, and I'm going to make its radius 50. So what that's going to give me is the distance from that point down to the ball. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Circle. And 50. Okay, so I'm just using those circles as a marker. Just keep that in mind. We're going to blow that out once we get done with it. Okay. Is everybody ready? So we're going to generate a parcel from the Create tools. I'm going to use a line again. Same site, single family. We use the same label style. So we really don't have to change anything here. In fact, that setup will pretty much be good for us for the rest of the time. We're going to hit OK. I'm going to do a shift, grab an intersection. So I'm going to snap it to that point. And I want to snap it in. I'm going to snap it in perpendicular. So that should go right to the ball for me. And that's a radial line when I snapped it perp. You should see another one showed up there, and it's 0.52 acres. Let's say we were looking for a minimum of a half an acre. So that means we did a really good design. So we could always change that around. But notice every time you're doing this, how this is subtracting area from that one. So I now have those two parcels. And that shows up now in my parcel list. If I close that, you'll see I've got parcels here now running. Everybody getting that to work? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this right here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to do another create one, and I'm going to snap it from endpoint, intersection rather, to perp, and that'll give me a radial line. So again, parcel tool, my line. You have to keep going through this every time. That's the only agonizing thing about this a little bit, but it works. It's not that big of a deal. So again, single family, same site, all of the properties are going to be the same. Just hit OK. We're going to do an intersection here to a tangent point here. Oops, perp is what I want. Back that out. I blew that. So I'm going to try that again. Let's see. Yeah, this guy's a little bit tricky sometimes. So if you do make mistakes, just back out all the way. So intersection to perpendicular. Okay. So there's my next site, and that's pretty good. That's what I want to see right there. Okay, any questions? How we doing on this, guys? So you can do the same thing. There's tools for your fixed curve. There's tools for all kinds of things once you get into this. Any questions anybody's having? Not hearing much comment. I guess we're doing okay.
So my actual drawing just crashed about 5 minutes ago, but I have everything drawn in except for the parcels, so I guess
Okay.
I'll just follow along with what you're going on.
Well, either that or I could save this and probably email it to you real quick.
If you would do that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I
give me a
just,
sec. Give me a sec.
okay.
Okay.
Thank
Just,
you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Let's see. Let me see if I got that real quick. My desktop's a mess. So I got to find it. Tell you what, I'm going to dump it someplace else so I can find it, and then I'll send that to you. How's that sound? Give me a second. That'll get people a
You're
chance
fine.
to catch up too. Okay.
Yeah, I had the road drawn in, and then I saved it, and then when we started doing the parcels, I forgot to keep saving it, and it just crashed.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, I guess parcels, in my opinion, are pretty kinky sometimes. So they're probably one of the things that take a little bit more time to deal with than other things, you know. So you'll get used to it. Especially if I'll be honest with you, I don't use parcels a ton, but they are really cool once you start playing with them. So, all right, give me a sec here. I gotta get to your email. Let's see. Let's see tools. Technology is nice when it works, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's see. I need to. All right, let's see now. Where do I go here?
You send that to me too.
Sure. Is that Micah?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta figure out how to do the attachment on here now. They moved it. Let me see. There was an attachment button here. Okay. Oh, attach a file. There we go. Attachments. I think this will work. Hold on a minute, guys. Sorry about that. It's good to see these problems exist, though, you know, because everybody has these in Civil 3D. That's the one thing about it. So. let me, okay, try that, see if it came in. Are you guys getting it now?
Yeah, I got it.
Did it have an attachment on it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. It didn't look like it had it on there. McAllister, you getting it too?
I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything. I don't know. You sent it through email or on
It's-
actual
I
Blackboard?
sent it through Blackboard's email, so it doesn't necessarily say it's from me.
Okay, let me.
It said it's sent to you. Micah got his, he said.
Surge email.
It might say my name. A lot of times it just comes from Blackboard.
I am not seeing it for whatever reason.
Okay. Let me,
It said it came from you.
yeah, it did say it came from me.
It's so weird. I don't know why I'm not seeing it.
All right, hold on a minute. I just found your email from another one, so I'm gonna try sending it through this guy, see if you see this one. Try this attachment again. I'll see this again. Hold on a sec. We'll get caught up. Sorry about that, everybody, but this we gotta all deal with this. So, all right, I'm sending it now. Just sent it.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
cool.
Cool.
Thank
All right.
you.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else problems? We'll make it work. Micah, does yours work now?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. Anybody else questions? Okay, Alistair, let me know when you're up, Ronan.
I'm good to go.
Okay, everybody else good? Shelly, Joe?
I'm good.
All right. So we're going to look at this really awesome tool now. So from a design standpoint, if you just have an area here and you just want to bust it up, you can give it parameters like I want this to be exactly a half acre, or I want it to be a lot width of something. So if you look on my final drawing, what I have you guys showing here on a final was looks like we're holding 100 feet across the frontage here. And basically all of these are going to come out to about a half an acre. So I can have different parameters. So I'm going to use that parameter of 100 feet as one of the distinguishing features. So this tool is really cool that'll break this up. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into the parcel creation tools guy. And this time I want you to open this guy up so we can look at the parameters. So notice you can set it to a minimum area. And unfortunately, it's not in acres. So if you did want to be exactly a half an acre, you'd have to take 43,560 and divide it by 2 and put the exact square footage in there. We can also do minimum frontage. Right now, notice they've got a minimum frontage of 60. Then you can also have what's called an offset distance. So a lot of times you can have a minimum frontage. In other words, up here, a minimum frontage, but back here at the building line, it has to be a different number. So you can set all these parameters up to these different values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this minimum frontage 100. And I'm going to use a minimum frontage at the offset of, you can say yes or no, but I'm going to say, if we, let's put our offset back about 50 feet because usually that's kind of the offset you're dealing with. So let's set the minimum width to 50 on that. Let's make that up a little bit bigger. Let's make it 80. I don't think that's going to matter. I'm going to leave the rest of this stuff alone, but you've got a lot of other things that you can do as you get into this. So what we've got primarily, we want to just make sure our minimum frontage is 100 and the offset distance is 50 and the minimum width is 80 at that offset, which kind of doesn't make sense sometimes, but we'll work that. And we're going to do this guy right here, which is called slide line create. Okay, so again, it's going to want to know what site this is part of. So I'm going to be site 1, single family. I'm not going to annotate it. I'm going to hit OK here. And what we're going to do is you're going to have to zoom out so you can see your parcel. So you have to first select the parcel that you want to subdivide. So I'm going to select that guy, and then you're going to pick with an OSNAP. Make sure you use an OSNAP. I want the endpoint of that. And as you follow this along the line, watch what's happening here. This is what we're going to divide, and I'm going to divide it up to that endpoint right there. So you get that little arrow that looks like that, okay? And when you're done, you just hit enter, and it should show you the divisions for you. And if you like what you see, you just hit accept the results. And there we just broke it up. And notice it broke mine thing up and divided everything. Now everything's 100 feet. Some of these are different little bit acreage wise. So you can play with that a little bit. These two guys are pretty small, so those might need to be changed, but everything else is in pretty good shape. Anybody questions on that? Everybody getting that to execute? That's a little bit tough sometimes. Everybody okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool tool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Now, you also have some other things we can do here. All right, so notice these guys really, they're probably subpar lots. They're only a quarter acre, less than a quarter acre. And let's say if we're shooting for a true half acre minimum, what we probably want to do is maybe this lot might be a really kind of a nasty lot. It's a little small here. What we can do is kind of delete lots, and then we can move things around a little bit. So these lines, actually, if you click on that line, notice you get this slider. This guy, when you click on that, you can just kind of drag that wherever you want. And it's also holding it into, it's holding it radial, which is really cool. So that's a really cool editing tool. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this guy, and I'm going to delete that parcel. Oops, let's see. Let's see if I can delete him. Oh, I can't delete the parcel, but what I can do is delete the line. There's a couple of ways to get rid of them, but the easiest way is if I want to bring these guys together, I can either dissolve it, or you just click on that line between them, and then you just hit the delete key. So what that did was dissolve those two parcels and made them one. So what that's done now is created 1 mega parcel between those. So that's probably hitting my half acre a little bit better. And what I might decide to do on this one is adjust this line a little bit. And I could bring that, like, say, down to there. Okay, makes that a little bit half an acre. Maybe that's a little bit more generous. Or let's say maybe I want that to be at the midpoint. So I'm going to snap to the midpoint. Let's see, midpoint, this guy right here, bring that back. So now that's an exact half acre right there, and that's a little bit more generous. So once you get these guys in place, you can really play with them, and that works just really, really well. Any questions on that? That's a really cool tool. And the fact that, you know, they're pretty easy to establish that way. It's just like, it makes your development of things really, really simple. So also you got those editing tools that are really nice. You can just edit them anytime you need to. Any questions? All right, good. So we're going to subdivide this other side. We're going to use the same parameters. We're going to do this remaining parcel property here, break that up and see if we can get that to work too. Now this tool, sometimes, like I said, it's a little tricky sometimes, so it doesn't always work. We're going to assume the same parameters. So if that guy's open, sometimes it's easier just closing. He does kind of get in your way. I'm going to go ahead and do another slide, align, create. I'm going to utilize the same parameters. I'm going to utilize the same information here. So I'm going to go ahead and have that. And I'm going to click on the parcel to subdivide. And again, I want to use an O snap to snap to this guy right there and follow that line up. And we're going to go up to that endpoint right there. Okay. And I'm going to just hit enter. And if I like what I see, then I'm going to accept it. All right. And there we have it. So again, we have some parcels that we probably want to adjust a little bit. But notice in general, we got everything pretty nicely in there. And they're all pretty close to a half an acre. Now these guys, that's a little small right there. So we might need to adjust that one. And some of these other ones we might need to adjust. So let's look at this one. Let's see. I think I want to move this guy to a midpoint. So I'm going to click on that guy, snap him to a midpoint on that one. So that one's giving me a little bit bigger than a half acre. That didn't get to a midpoint, did it? I want a midpoint on that line. There we go. So there's a midpoint. That's about where it was. Can't seem to get that to right at the midpoint. You could literally just drag them around. I think what we're going to do is we're going to delete this guy. And maybe drag this one down. See what a midpoint does for me there. You can just play with them. You can eyeball them. You don't even have to snap points if you don't want to. So that gets me a little bit better. That's 6. That's 6. That's still a little slim right there. I might want to drag this guy down. So notice you can really just eyeball these guys in and get them exactly where you want them. But once you get them fixed how you want, then we're all good to go. Okay, just make sure they're close. I could probably take this guy down a little bit more if I wanted to make him a little bit smaller. So like I said, your numbers may not agree with mine, but I might look at what a lot of times designers will do, and this is kind of an important thing when you get into the design. Notice how I have a line here. It's very nice to keep that on the same alignment, which I could easily do if I needed to. But by just dragging these around, you can get these guys to work very nicely for you. So I'm just trying to get them close to that. Okay. I don't know why this one won't go midpoint for me. That's not the midpoint. But anyway, all right. Any questions on that? No questions? We good so far? All right. Well, I'm assuming everybody's doing well on this. Okay, I'm just dragging that till I get that at about a half an acre. There's a half an acre right there. That's about a half. That's it. Yeah, so everything's in pretty good shape. So notice over here, now we have parcels. Every one of these is a parcel. So you may have to like close your site and then open it back up, and you'll notice you have all of your parcels here. So we're going to start to edit some of this stuff. Now you might notice everything here is considered single family style, except for that one. So we're going to change the properties on that. So what I want you to do is find your one that says property instead of single family. Go ahead and click on it, and then right click, and we're going to go to the parcel properties and check that out. So go to the information tab on this guy, and you can open this up and you'll find it's set to property. Go ahead and change that to a single family so that they're now referencing the same exact mode. Okay. You can also do the same thing over here. You can click on that. You can go to properties. You can get it that way as well. All right. Is that working for everybody? Any questions on that? Okay, so we're going to edit some other parcel properties. I want you to come down to this one, and we want to make this guy, we want to make that guy parcel 1. So I don't think a parcel 1 exists. There's a road 1, but a single family 1. I think we can do that. So let's see if we can get that properties. Is everybody ready? Find this lower lot, that southwest corner lot. Go ahead and click on him. So whatever your number is, remember it just generates the numbers based on what it wants to. As long as we don't have a parcel 1 already, we have a road 1, but not a parcel 1. I think we can do this. I might have to do the road to another number. Let's see if it'll let me do that. Click on that. Go ahead to parcel properties. And we're going to navigate to the user defined properties. And for the parcel number, we're going to set that to 1. Yep, it's not going to let me. Okay, so we're going to have to change the other one. But I want you to notice also, you could do things like put the address in there for the parcel. If you had a parcel ID tax number, you can do all that. So you can really put a lot of intelligence on that. So we can't do this one. What we're going to have to do is change this one because this one's 1. I kind of had a feeling that was going to be the problem. So I'm going to click on this guy, and we're going to change his properties. So I think we have, looks like 18 lots. We're just going to change that to a new number. See if it'll let me do this. I'm going to change that to 50. That should be good. Apply that. So that just went to an arbitrary number. So now I'm going to come down here and redo this one. So we're going to make this one 1 now. I think it'll let me do this. Parcel properties. Should be 1. Yeah, look, it took that one. And we're going to okay that. Okay. How's that coming for everybody?
So when I click on the parcel
Yep.
and I go to parcel properties and go to user defined properties, it like flashes the information and then it just disappears and I can't change anything.
Yeah, same for me.
You're doing the same, that's happening the same way?
Well, mine's just not showing up.
Yeah, I don't have any information.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. On any of them?
Correct.
Yep.
So when you go over here to site, are you seeing these guys over here?
Yes.
And if you click on, like, say, the very first one and right click, go to properties, nothing happens.
Right.
Okay.
It just like flashes at me and then there's nothing.
Okay. But you are having you do have parcels on here, right? So when you click on
Yes.
them, you get those. Okay. I'm going to tell you, try this. Go ahead and save the drawing and close it.
Okay.
So I'm going to save the drawing and close it. And then let's just open it back up and see what happens. This is what I said. Sometimes parcels are tricky. Anybody else experiencing that? What I've found a lot of times in civil, if you do have those kind of issues, a lot of times it'll
Nope, it still didn't do it.
still doing it. Why don't you try closing Civil 3D and then
Okay.
opening it back up?
All right.
And Micah, you're having the same problem?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else having those problems? Didn't count on this being an issue. Well, we have it sometimes. All right, go ahead and close Civil 3D and then open it back up and see what happens. And if that doesn't work, I may have you send me your drawing real quick.
Okay.
I closed Civil 3D and then redid it, and it's still the same.
Still the same. So what exactly is happening? You got parcels there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you click on them, do you get a part? It shows you it's a parcel like that?
No, I actually don't get that little object there.
Oh, well, you may not get this. That's called a quick select. So quick props. But it should highlight like this.
Yeah, I got that.
And it's showing you parcels over here on the sites, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And yours is still doing it, Shelly?
Yeah. It's like it flashes at me and then there's nothing.
It says classification none. I don't know if that means anything.
That's weird. So when you right click, it does show you parcel properties here, right?
Yes.
Will you do me a favor and send me your drawing real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Let me stop the recording a minute. Somebody remind me. All right, so I'm resuming the recording. So what I'm trying to do here is set this up so that we can renumber these, okay? So because these guys just come in the way they want to. Shelly, let me ask you this. I forgot that. When you had, were you able to set that up to a single family parcel? I didn't even look at that. Yeah, it looks like it worked, didn't it? You were able to set that single family up, weren't you?
Yeah.
But everything kind of went haywire after that, right?
Yeah. I can't. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I'm on your drawing right now, actually. That's just weird.
Reminds me of
All right.
my issues with the Zoom and paper space.
Say that again.
With the paper space Zoom that we had issues with,
Yeah.
like it worked on your computer, but it didn't work on mine.
Right. I don't know what's, like I said, I think sometimes Windows settings can be an issue. I'll try to look into that for you, but definitely bring your computer on Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll see what we can do. Okay. All right. So if you go ahead and follow along with me, hopefully, I want to see if your labeling will work too. Okay. So if this doesn't work, we're going to renumber this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I already set this to 1. I'm going to click on this guy right now. Now, is this working for you, Shelly?
Yeah, I can click on it. Highlights.
It highlights. Okay. Up here, are you getting an editing
Yeah.
tab up here?
Yeah, like where you
What?
add labels and tables and stuff.
All right. So let's see. We're going to do what's called a renumber rename. Did this
Did,
pop?
did you get the recording started again? Did I miss that?
I did.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I wanted to, let me check it real quick, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because it says pause recording. So yeah, we're good. Appreciate that. All right. So now this should pop up for renumber. Start numbering at 1, and we're going to increment it by 1, and then I'm going to hit OK. So then you just pick a point like it's like a polyline, and you just drag the line through all of the parcels that you want to renumber like that. And then when you get done, you hit enter and enter again, and they should all be renumbered. So I'm going to close this guy. So as I look at mine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just like I want it renumbered. Did that work for everybody?
How did you get to that command again?
You click on a parcel, and what that'll do is bring up a context-sensitive editing tab up here, and it says parcel single family, and then there's your renumber, rename button. So you click on that, you tell it what number you want to start with, you hit OK, and then you just basically drag a line through them. Shelly, did that work for you?
It didn't work the first time. I'm trying it again.
Okay, Micah, how about
Do you
you?
have to click on every parcel or just the line
No,
through,
what you do is you click on the first parcel, brings up this tool,
right?
go to renumber, rename,
Mm-hmm.
tell it what you want to start with,
Right.
and then you hit OK.
Yep.
And then you just like pick a point and you drag that line. See how it's like a polyline?
Yeah.
You just drag it through each parcel, okay? It just has to come through the parcel like that,
Okay.
okay? And then when you get done, hit enter twice and it should fix them. I'm just curious if this works for you.
Worked for me.
It
It
did?
worked for me.
Okay. So see, there's something else that's creating those other issues. I don't know what's going on. We'll try to get it fixed out though. So I think it's a Windows issue. I'm almost gonna bet not a Civil 3D issue. How they're interacting with each other. And sometimes they don't play nice together. All right, did that work for everybody else? Okay, so now that we have this style set up the way we want it, what I'm gonna do is click on here, and I'm gonna get rid of that style. Now hopefully this will work, it may not. I'm gonna right click and go to, let's see. Yeah, that's actually, yours is probably not gonna work for this one either. I wanna click on this and right click and go to edit parcel properties. That's not working, is it?
Yeah, I went to edit parcel properties.
And it worked?
Yeah, I have information there. I don't know. Where do you want me to go?
Well, go to user defined now.
Well, you're on parcel properties.
Right.
I'm on parcel style.
Oh, okay. All right. But parcel properties is the one that's the problem, huh?
Yes.
Okay. What I want to do is set the area selection label up to a different label style, which I don't know if you can do it in that one. Let me see. You're under edit parcel style.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if we can get to it there. I don't think it's going to let me. I can change the parcel segment markers. Yeah, I don't think I can get to what I want to get to.
So if I go to parcel properties, I don't have user defined properties,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a bunch of other information on the other tabs.
Okay, do this. Click on the parcel one.
Okay.
You should have a tab up here that shows up, parcel style. See parcel properties right there?
Yes.
Open that up and see if that works.
Yeah.
It did?
But no, it just flashed at me again on
Okay.
user defined properties and went away.
Okay. Well, anyway, so watch what I'm going to do so you'll know, and then we'll try to figure this out. What I want to do is set this style up to just parcel number, and then apply that. So what I'm doing is I don't really care to see the all that information anymore. I just want the number. Okay. Did that work? You can't
Yeah.
get it. You can't get it to work probably, but other people can.
No, it worked.
It
It
did?
just, yeah, it just, that one tab doesn't show me.
Oh,
any-
it's just the one that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. So now we want to do that for all of these. And so the easiest way I've found to do this is once you set one up, because this is a little tricky, is to go over to the Home tab. And we're going to do what's called the match props. So I'm just going to match these properties. And notice what it's doing is it's just setting that style up for me. Just taking that style and setting it so I don't have to do, I'm even going to do it for the roadway. And there we have it. Did that work? Like I said, parcels are a little tricky, and they're not the easiest thing to deal with. Let me know when we're ready.
I'm good.
Okay, great. Micah?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody else all right? Okay, so now that we have our parcels in, now we can start to annotate. So before, you know, we used all those really nice little annotation tools that they have, and we can do that, but they have parcel annotation tools. So the cool thing about this is it will recognize your parcel. You just click on your parcel and it annotates it for you. So you don't have to do any placements. Now, the problem is there are some things, some issues. So we're going to start here looking at one, and I'm going to show you kind of how we're going to do this. And then, of course, you could use any format you want to. So what I'm going to do is go to annotate here, labels. We're going to add labels, and notice now there's a parcel add labels here. Okay, so we're going to add parcel labels, and this box pops up. So notice we can do multiple segments or single segments or area. I want to do what's called multiple segments. So that's going to basically go out and it's going to say, okay, I'm going to do your whole parcel for you. And then again, we have all these label styles: bearing over distance, bearing only, distance only. What we're going to do is distances first. Okay. So I'm going to do distance only. And for the curve, I'm also going to do distance only as well. So make sure you're setting both your line labels to distance only and your curve labels to distance only. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and hit add. And you just come in and select your parcel clockwise. You have to do that clockwise every time. But notice what I'm doing. I'm just building these in there real quickly. Now, I'm going to delete some of these because I don't want them all in there. But what it's doing is it's really giving me these guys really quick. Okay, and this is what I found is probably one of the easiest ways to do this. I don't know if there's a setting I can set that, but it looks like I have to hit that clockwise every time, which is not that big of a deal. And I'm just coming down here and we're just labeling it. So notice how nice this is. And the other thing is it centers it. It centers it on the line for you, so you don't have to mess with moving these things around. So once you've come around, then you can go ahead and hit close on that and escape. Is that working for everybody? How we doing on that?
I'm good.
I'm good.
So that's executing nicely, right? You notice how nice that is? A little bit nicer than the other labeling we did, right? Now we still would have to finish this plat, you'll probably still want to put some exterior line work on. But do notice a couple of things. Some of these labels we don't want, and some of them we need to flip. In fact, a bunch of them we need to flip. So what I'm going to do is just start clicking on the ones I want to flip. Notice they also don't have the right scale, or they don't have the right precisions, but we can adjust that. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to just click on all of these. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to flip them. Flip them to the inside. Do the things on the outside like this as well. You can probably catch a bunch of them at the same time. If you think about it, just make sure you're getting all of the labels that you want to flip. You may have to do it several times. I always find one or two that I don't flip correctly. Right click and flip them. I must have done too many. Let me flip them. Let me see if I can do that. So go ahead and flip all the labels that you want to. So this is a way cool tool when it comes to labeling with parcels, and this makes it a lot easier than what we did on that first drawing that we got into. It takes a little bit of time. It's all good though. So I got a few more to flip. You guys are probably flipping them too yet. You can always flip them after the fact too. Okay. So you can always flip them, don't worry about it. So once we get those labeled, notice again, like the other label styles, we may have to deal with a precision issue. So I'm going to click on one of these labels. Notice my curves look like they're correct. So I don't have to mess with my curves, other than the fact, drives me nuts with Civil 3D. The curves don't show a foot mark. So we do have to edit both of those. So I'm going to edit this down to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to click on that, right click, and go to edit the label style. Grab that guy. Make sure you're talking about whatever feature it's talking about. I want the precision to 2. Promote it. Okay it. And they should all go to 2 decimal places. You didn't have any problems when you right clicked on that one, did you, Shelley?
No.
Okay. So it's just it's something in parcels. Well, that'll help me maybe figure it out. Okay. Is everybody going all right so far? So, you know, hopefully we're getting pretty used to this labeling at this point. We need to, but can you see how much quicker this is doing the labeling than the other labeling? This is great. And the cool thing is that they're linked to the parcels. So if parcel lines change, those numbers are going to change with you. That's also really awesome. So I do want to change the style here on this guy. So I'm going to click on that style to edit its label style. That's a distance. And notice, let's see, go to that guy right there. We need to precision is good. Let's see, we need what? That's not, I need to fix it. Need to get a suffix in there. Suffix. Oh, yeah, I know what I need to do. I need to go to here, click on this. Actually, I just need to put that mark at the end of that. Okay, so those all came in now with my foot mark. Is everybody doing all right?
Yep.
So what I found is, because I did distances everywhere, I might want bearings in here, and I think it's a lot easier to do your bearings or your distances first. So what I'm going to do is just come back and delete these guys, and then I'm going to have a single segment. I'm going to replace those with a single bearing segment, bearing over distance. So I'm just going to get this out, because again, I think it's easier for me to do my distances first. That's what I found. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do another parcel label here, okay? Now this one doesn't recognize the midpoint of the line, I don't think, so you may have to move those around. But I'm going to go back to annotate, parcel, add parcel labels. This time I'm going to do a single segment, so it can just let me do one at a time. And I'm going to do a bearing over distance. I'm going to check that style real quick because that style might need some changes on it. Yeah, the bearing is to decimal seconds. I want that to 1 second. Segment distance. I think we're good on that. Okay, so I'm going to just do a single segment, and then all you got to do is just click on, the parcel segment that you want to do, and it does it for you. So again, I don't think I think they come in where you click them, so they don't necessarily come in midpoint. So if you want to move those around, you can do that.
Why do these come in green instead of blue?
It has to do with the setting on the, I think they still come in on the same, let's see what layer they came on. Yeah, some of these things just do their own thing sometimes, you know. Let me see what layer that's on. If those are on different layers. Oops. Oh, I just started a new drawing. Let's see, hold on a minute. Good question. Also notice the scale factor is smaller than the other one, so you may have to adjust both of those to make those agree. I think that looks like that's set to 1/10 of a foot. Let's see, 1/10 of an inch. That is on CProp layer, line text layer. Okay, I know it says it's blue, but there's other settings that must be going on, and let me see what that's doing. What layer that's on. They're on the same layer, but if you look at the properties on that, let me see what the properties say. These guys are like blocks, so that's weird because it says the true color is by layer and it's by layer, but something's overriding it. So we'd have to look at the label style on that, Dave, to be honest with you. I'll be honest, sometimes I don't even mess with that. If I get them to come in, I can always do a monochrome setting. Is that good for everybody now?
I wasn't worried about the look of it, just more like, is the intelligence still there with these labels?
It is. It is. In other words, let me say this: the label itself doesn't have any intelligence, but what it was generated from was the parcel. That's the thing that contains the intelligence. Okay. Now, we could have labeled this just using the normal label annotate over here, just a normal line, but then it's not harvesting the parcel information actually, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? So there's a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else questions? Getting this to work, guys? So the beauty is, because these parcels have intelligence, if you will, the labeling is a snap. It's a lot easier, right? And notice also these styles aren't matching their heights. So let's look at the height. This is probably a 10th. So if I come here, I want to match it. I could just right click that. Go to my edit label style. And I believe, yeah, that's 0.15. If I make that 0.1, apply that. That should fix all of those. And those are still big, so I'd need to do that with those as well. So again, hopefully you guys are starting to get this labeling down, and it works the same way for all of them. The labeling that we're going to get into when we start doing profiles and alignments, that's a little trickier too, but that'll set that up. All right, how's that coming, guys? We got parcels, built parcels out, we got lots, everything looking good. I really don't have an answer why that's green though. Because I did the same thing yesterday and mine came in blue, so I don't know why they're green. There's some setting in there. I don't worry about it sometimes. Okay, anybody problems? We're all good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna build some tables. Now notice we've got like that line. Now you could do things like pull that guy out. I think that's kind of clinky sometimes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build some line tables and curve tables. Notice also, I want you to notice this is really nice. Notice how my cul-de-sac, before when we labeled that, what did we have to do to get those labels to work right?
Had to break it.
Yeah, but see, we didn't have to break it because the parcel includes the intelligence there. So that's the beauty of this whole process. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a line table and a curve table. So we go to the annotate section, add tables, and notice there now is a parcel table, and you can add a line and you can add a curve. So what we're going to do is go to add line. And again, just like it's really the same kind of table, but we do have to select our tags first. So I'm going to come down here, and anything that looks really small, I'm going to grab. So let's see. Yeah, I don't want that one, so I'm going to replace that with a tag. Let's see. I might go ahead and replace that one with a tag. And let's see. Maybe that one with a tag as well. Just grab the ones that you want. Anything that's hitting the line, I'm going to make that into a tag. Okay. So I think I got everything I wanted. I'm going to hit enter and convert all my label styles to tags. And then go hit OK. And we're going to generate our tag table over here. And this one needs a little editing, but also notice it's flipped. So just like we did this before, click on your thing, and we're going to edit the table style. What I'm going to do is set my length. Let's see. We need to set a foot mark after this guy. He doesn't have a foot mark. So we're going to put a foot mark in. And I've got to go to my direction. And I'm clicking on that guy, and that's decimal seconds. I want to make that 1 second. Promote it. Okay, that. And the other thing I want to do is sort my data. So we've done this all before, and there's my table. And I should have a tag now replacing that. And that's still even a little close. I might pull that out if I need to, but the rest of them look pretty good. Is everybody getting that to work?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to do, so far, Shelley, everything's working except that one little feature, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try to investigate that, but I still got to think it's a Windows problem, but we'll see. All right. So we're going to now do a curve table, same way. Annotate, add tables, parcels, add a curve table. So again, we have to pick the tags. I'm going to pretty much make any of these small curves part of it. So I'm going to select that one. That one looks pretty good. I'm going to get up definitely up in here though when I get to my cul-de-sac. So I'm going to get rid of that one and that one, that one and that one. Let's see, I'm going to leave that one alone, but I'll get rid of that and make that into a tag. Let's see, tags. And I'll do that one as a tag as well. Remember, you can always add tags. So I've got 7 tags. Going to bring that guy over here. And again, we may have to make some changes. This one looks pretty good. All of the lengths are missing distances though. So I want to make a few changes. Lengths need distances, and I want my deltas into degrees, minutes, seconds. And I also want to sort this guy. So I'm going to click on him. Go to my table styles. So I'm going to sort it. Let's see, length needs a foot mark. Double click on that. And click on at the end of this guy, put your foot mark. Radius needs a foot mark. And we could set these up. Remember, we talked about this. We could set these up in a template so you don't have to keep doing this. Delta, but it's good practice. I found the more you do this, the better you get at it. Instead of decimal degrees, I want this to be a degree, minute, second to the nearest second. And chord length. And the chord length is also going to have a foot mark. So we're going to okay that, apply it, and everything should be good. Does that work? Oh, my delta angle didn't show up. Let me check that again. I didn't promote that probably. That's all exactly what I didn't do. This is so easy to forget to do. I get it set up in here and then I forget to change it. So 1 second, got to promote it. There, that fixed it. Okay. Any questions anybody has on any of those? Those 2 tables execute pretty well for you?
Yep.
Is everybody's sorted and well and everything? That'll work?
Yeah, mine did.
Okay, perfect. You were able to edit it okay, McAllister? Oop, notice I got a little mistake there. Do you notice that? See how I put the wrong thing in there. I put a comma instead of a foot mark. So again, easy things to fix, but those are the things that'll get you. You'll forget about it. You'll print that out, and all of a sudden, well, I didn't write. And I just saw that. So let's see. I need to come in here and delete that and put the proper mark in there. Fix that. Apply it. Yeah, everything's good now. Okay. All right, so we're going to show you one more table we can build. We can build an area table, which is pretty neat. So I'm going to come up here, tables. I'm going to do a parcel table. I'm going to add an area table. So we have to select we're going to come in here and select all the ones we want to build areas out of. So you're actually selecting the parcel number, which is really holding all the intelligence into the parcel. Now this one does have other things in it, so I'm going to show you how to handle that. So we're going to modify this unless they just, yeah, they don't have one that's just area. You could make one just area, but what this is going to do is when we hit OK here, give yourself enough room here. It brings in a whole listing of your bearing lengths, and so I don't necessarily need all this. All I'm really after is my area and my perimeter. Okay. So we're going to make a few changes here to this table. Okay, did everybody get their table to execute, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna edit a couple things here. So right click to edit table styles. Okay, I don't want my bearings, so I'm clicking on that and I'm going to hit the X. Takes it out. I don't want my segments. I'm going to click that and take it out. Let's check the area. Let's see. That is in units of square feet. We want that in units of acres, and we want the precision to 4 decimal places. That's pretty standard. And my perimeter, let's see what that perimeter is in. Perimeter. Let's see, parcel perimeter. Oh, I can just click there actually. That is in feet, but it doesn't have, let's see, a foot mark after. Actually, you would say square feet. So you could put type in square feet. I'm not going to worry about it. It should be understood. I'm going to go ahead and do that. That should have really changed that up. So notice that area is in acres. That doesn't say acres. So if you really wanted it to say acres, what you could do is, again, come into this guy. I forgot to do that. You could come to your properties, go to the area, and after that acre, you could type in AC. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah, I probably want to space it, but that doesn't look right. But yeah, you could put that in there if you needed to.
So your acres are like, what, 28,866.11.
My acres aren't right.
Under my acre, it's like 0.77.
Yeah, see, my acres are wrong, so I need to check that. I think mine's still in square feet, to be honest with you. I probably told you to promote it, and I didn't. Let me check my numbers. Yes, mine's definitely wrong. And I'm going to get rid of that first off. Let me click on that. Yep, mine's still in square feet. I didn't promote it after I did all that stuff. Let me go ahead and put it that way. Now, if I do want that symbol AC after it, I would do that right there. Good call on that. There you go. That is much better. Yeah, that's what you should be seeing. Okay. Oh, I still have that little A in there. That's my bad. But you guys get the idea, right? You can fritz around with these tables pretty easily. So they're not hard to edit. They're definitely not hard to edit. I think I have a extra character there. Like that. A lot of people, by the way, it just depends on the jurisdiction, but some jurisdictions want them out 4 decimal places in acres, some less, so you have to go with what they're talking about there. And actually perimeter I should have a foot mark after that. So, all right. Any questions? So now these tables can be brought in, and of course they're dynamically linked. So if things change here, they'll change over here. You can also add, if you want to add styles or table things to that, you can do that as well. Any questions? All right, well, one more thing, and then we'll be done. You can generate reports that you can print out for people if you were interested in doing this. So that's where we have this thing called the toolbox. Now, if you don't have the toolbox showing up, go to Home tab, And over here, there's this guy called the toolbox. So if that's grayed out, you don't have that tab, just hit that little toolbox and you'll get your toolbox tab that'll show up. All right. Now this one is also kind of strange. Sometimes this doesn't really work very well. So we're going to go to the toolbox and we're going to go to these things called Report Manager. And I have had problems with this. So in fact, I have problems with doing some point stuff. But if we go to the parcel, notice there's different parcel reports you could do. You could do an area report, a legal, it actually will do a legal description or it'll inverse or what they call meets and bounds. It'll dump it in a CSV format. So what that does is actually opens it up in Excel for you. So you can do a lot of different things here. So if we wanted to do an area report, we click on area, we right click and say execute. So it'll basically ask you what you want to export out into the report in XML. We really don't care about any of this other stuff, but it doesn't impact us, I found. So if you just say, yeah, just go ahead and go with it, it'll ask you where you want to dump this report. So just take it either to your desktop or a folder, just hit save. And it generates this report, which is in an XML file format. And then you can print this out, or there's a lot of different things you can do to it. But this would be something you could share, like say with a county or something like that. So notice it's giving me square feet, it's giving me acres of perimeter. And all of that can be set up. There's templates that you can use to do this with. Other types of reports, like I said, they actually have one that will basically set it up to do a meets and bounds description for you. So if you did that, and let's say I'm going to toggle off everything here, but we're just going to do it for one lot. So I just want you to do it for, let's see, let's do it for lot 1. I'm just going to toggle off all these other ones because I don't want to do it for every one of them. So this isn't a perfect description, but what it will give you is the start. So if you're writing a legal description for each one of these lots, what it will do is it gives you the start, and then you can take and edit this. So the beauty of it, what it does is it brings in your bearings and your distances for you. So you don't have to worry about having any transcription errors. But there are some things like, notice I'm getting decimal seconds there. I don't want that. So you're going to have to do some editing. So it's not a perfect world. You can set them up, but it's still not perfect the way it works. Okay. Any questions? We covered quite a bit today. The big issues here are really just working with these parcel tools. This is your creation tools mostly. And then once you have your things there, you can edit them very effectively. I didn't show you this. Let me show you this real quick. These lines in a parcel are considered what are called figures. So notice they have edit geometry here. So if you click on a parcel, then it goes up to here to your whatever parcel you're talking about. You can do an edit geometry in here. And they have you the ability to insert and delete PIs. You can do fillets within here. You can do trims, you can do extends. So you can't do your normal trim, extend, fillet with a parcel. You have to use these tools right here. But they work pretty effectively. Okay. The other thing I don't like about parcels is if I wanted points on all of these, I can't do that. I don't think so. If I go create points here, it's not going to allow me to create points on a parcel. So if you wanted points, you would have to come and either do it manually and snap to them, or I think you could do this automatic, where you just kind of go in and select. See if it'll do that. Yeah, it won't let me do that. I have to select lines and arcs and all of that. It'll auto point it for me. So a lot of surveyors are going to want to have everything points. So because you're going to want to do stakeout based on those points. So it's a little cumbersome to do, but it still has everything intact there. Okay, any questions? So Wednesday, we're going to start another project. Of course, we'll be wanting to try to finish the one you're working on first, and then get you guys started on this parcel project. And it's going to be very similar to what we just did. Okay, so you'll be drawing a plat, you'll be drawing, labeling it, you'll be putting some tables into it, and all of that good stuff. And then next week, we'll start into surfaces, which is a really cool option. That's where you really start to get into your design modes, because right now we haven't looked at surfaces at all, and that'll bring in a whole nother ramification of things when we get into civil. Okay, does anybody have any questions before we get out of here for the day?
I have a question, but it's actually on the homework that's due on Wednesday.
Okay, let me tell you what, hold on, I'm gonna pause the recording.